Blueberries are healthy, no doubt about it. They're packed with antioxidants, good for your brain and great for your gut. But here's what almost no one is talking about. They don't mix well with certain foods. And if you're over 60, those combinations could actually be hurting your health. Today, we're going to break down 5 foods you should never eat with blueberries. Not because blueberries are bad, but because the way they interact with these foods can block nutrients, spike your blood sugar, or even increase your risk for kidney stones. So if you're putting blueberries in your smoothie, your oatmeal, or alongside your vitamins, keep listening, because one of these combinations might be working against you. Let's talk about iron supplements. A lot of people over 60 take them every day, usually first thing in the morning. It makes sense. Iron supports red blood cell production, energy, and brain function. And for many seniors who deal with low iron or anemia, it's just part of the routine. But here's the issue. Imagine you're doing everything right, taking your supplement, eating your fruit, maybe even blending it all into a smoothie with blueberries. That seems healthy, right? It's not. Blueberries, for all their benefits, contain compounds called polyphenols, specifically tannins and anthocyanins. These are great for reducing inflammation and protecting your cells. But when they meet iron in your digestive system, they latch onto it and prevent it from being absorbed. Think of it like two magnets stuck together. Once they bond, your body can't use the iron. It just passes through you. That's a huge deal if you already struggle with low energy or fatigue. This kind of nutrient-blocking interaction is incredibly common and incredibly sneaky. Most people don't even realize it's happening. They'll go to the doctor, get blood work, see that their iron is still low, and think they need a stronger dose. But the truth is, it's not always about how much you take. It's about how well your body absorbs it. If you're eating high polyphenol foods like blueberries at the same time, you could be cutting your absorption by 50% or more. And it's not just about being a little tired. Chronic iron deficiency can lead to brain fog, muscle weakness, pale skin, headaches, and even shortness of breath. For older adults, these symptoms often get blamed on age, when it could actually be poor nutrient timing. Now, this doesn't mean you need to give up blueberries. It just means you need to separate them from your iron supplements. Give it an hour or two between eating your fruit and taking your pills. If you take your iron first thing, wait until later in the morning to have your berries. Or flip it. Eat your fruit early and take your supplement after lunch. Just don't do both at the same time. Also, if you're eating other iron-rich foods, like spinach, lentils, or fortified cereals, be mindful of what you pair them with. The same interaction can happen there too. You want vitamin C alongside iron. That helps with absorption. So, if you need a food to pair with iron, go with citrus, bell peppers, or strawberries. Not blueberries. The key takeaway is this. When you're over 60, your digestive efficiency naturally declines. Your stomach acid decreases, which already makes it harder to absorb nutrients like iron. So every little thing you do to protect that absorption matters. You don't need to change your whole diet. Just adjust the timing, spread things out a bit. You'll likely feel the difference within a few weeks. One more thing, don't ignore symptoms. If you're always cold, always tired, or having trouble concentrating, don't assume it's just part of aging. It might be low iron. And if you're taking supplements but not seeing improvement, look at your food pairings. That small adjustment could be the missing link. Now let me tell you about something else that surprised me when I first learned it. Even the timing of your tea or coffee matters when it comes to iron. Both beverages contain their own types of polyphenols, which can also block absorption. That's why doctors often say to take iron on an empty stomach. But that's not always realistic for everyone, especially if you're prone to stomach upset. So here's what you can do. Pair your iron supplement with something acidic, like orange juice. Vitamin C enhances iron absorption and helps counteract the effects of those polyphenols. Just make sure there aren't blueberries in that glass. Even juices that claim to be antioxidant-rich often combine multiple fruits, and if blueberries are in the mix, they can still get in the way. Also, don't overlook how your medications might be playing a role. If you're on antacids or proton pump inhibitors, meds that reduce stomach acid, that can lower your body's ability to absorb iron even further. And if you're then adding blueberries to the mix, it's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. You're putting in the effort but not getting the payoff. And for those of you who like to take everything all at once, your iron, your calcium, your multivitamin, your fruit smoothie, you're not doing your body any favors. It may be convenient, but it's not effective. Nutrients often compete for absorption, and you end up absorbing less of everything rather than more. Here's the good news, though. Once you space things out and give your body a chance to process each nutrient separately, many people start to feel better pretty quickly. Within a couple of weeks, you might notice you're not as tired in the afternoon. Your focus sharpens. You wake up feeling a bit more refreshed. These aren't magic changes, but they're meaningful, and they build over time. So if you take away one thing from this entire episode, let it be this. Healthy food isn't always healthy in combination. You need to think beyond the label. Look at the interactions. Give your body the space it needs to absorb what you're feeding it. That's how you turn eating well into actually feeling well. And don't be afraid to experiment a little. Try different timings. Track how you feel. Talk to your doctor about whether your iron levels have improved. You are your own best advocate, and sometimes your body is just waiting for you to listen. Now let's move on to protein shakes, specifically whey protein. If you're someone who takes nutrition seriously, there's a good chance you've had a blueberry whey protein shake at some point. Maybe after a walk, after a workout, or just as a quick breakfast. It seems like the perfect health combo, right? Protein for your muscles, antioxidants for your brain and heart. But here's where it gets tricky. Whey protein, while effective at building and maintaining muscle, can interact with some of the antioxidants in blueberries in ways that reduce their effectiveness. That means the brain-boosting, heart-protective benefits you expect from blueberries could be significantly muted when mixed with whey. And for older adults who are often trying to fight inflammation and cognitive decline, this is something you really want to know about. In particular, studies have shown that processing or heating whey can create a chemical environment that interferes with the bioavailability of polyphenols, the very compounds that make blueberries so powerful. So when you blend the two together, especially in a high-speed blender that generates heat or with other processed ingredients, you're reducing the potency of your blueberries without even realizing it. It's a sneaky interaction because the shake still looks healthy. It tastes good. You feel like you're doing the right thing, but your body might not be getting what it needs. And remember, antioxidants aren't just a wellness buzzword. They play a critical role in reducing oxidative stress, which is linked to aging, memory loss, joint pain, and even heart disease. Every little bit counts, especially if you're eating for longevity. So what can you do? First, try switching to a plant-based protein powder like pea, hemp, or rice protein. These don't seem to interfere with blueberry polyphenols in the same way. Or if you're committed to whey, consider mixing your shake first, letting it cool slightly, and then adding the blueberries at the end. You could even blend them in separately with a spoon to avoid high-speed breakdown. Another option is to have your blueberries on the side. That way, you're not creating a chemical reaction in the same glass. Your body gets the full spectrum of benefits from both foods, just with a little space between them. And timing matters too. If you're eating blueberries in the morning and doing your shake midday, great. Or flip it. The key is to avoid overloading your system with everything all at once, especially if it leads to reduced nutrient absorption. Also, be cautious about what else is in the shake. A lot of people throw in spinach, kale, or vitamin powders, but these can interact too. When you mix a dozen healthy things together, sometimes they compete instead of cooperate. That's where good intentions can go sideways. So just remember, food is powerful, but the way we combine it matters just as much as what we're eating. You're not just feeding your stomach. You're feeding your cells, your brain, your heart, and how well those systems function can depend on small choices like this. Let me give you an example. I had a friend named Mark who was diligent about his health. He was in his early 60s, went to the gym 3 times a week, and always made a post-workout shake. It had blueberries, whey protein, a scoop of greens powder, and a banana. Sounds great, right? But over time, he started noticing that he still felt sore longer than usual, had trouble with recovery, and wasn't seeing the muscle strength gains he expected. It wasn't until he switched to a plant-based protein that things began to change. His inflammation dropped. He felt clearer. He even started sleeping better. The point isn't that whey is bad. It's that whey may not play nicely with everything in your blender. Especially when you add blueberries, the antioxidants don't function the way they should. Some get denatured by heat or broken down too early during digestion. That means the free radical protection you were expecting might not even happen. Try to think of nutrients as a team. Some players support each other. Others cancel each other out. And just because a label says 20 grams of protein and full of antioxidants doesn't mean your cells are seeing both in usable form. Timing and combination matter more than most people realize. So if you're building a shake, consider blending your whey with neutral fruits like banana or avocado, and saving blueberries for a snack an hour later. Or just add them after blending, when everything's already cool. These tweaks might sound small, but your body notices them, and your long-term health reflects them. Now let's talk about yogurt. Greek yogurt with blueberries might be one of the most iconic, healthy breakfasts of the last decade. And honestly, it makes sense. You've got protein, probiotics, and vitamins from the yogurt, and antioxidants and fiber from the blueberries. What could go wrong? Well, the problem lies in how blueberries interact with calcium. See, blueberries are high in oxalates, naturally occurring compounds found in many fruits and vegetables. On their own, oxalates are fine, but when they combine with calcium, especially in large amounts, they can bind together and form crystals that your body can't absorb. Instead of the calcium helping your bones, it passes right through your system, or worse, forms tiny particles that can contribute to kidney stones over time. Now, if you're over 60, you're probably already paying attention to calcium. You might be taking a supplement or making a point to eat more dairy to support bone health. Osteoporosis risk increases with age, and many people, especially women, try to counteract that with yogurt, milk, or cheese. But if you're eating high-calcium meals and regularly adding blueberries, you could be interfering with your own absorption. That means your bones aren't getting the help they need, and you might not notice it for years, until you're suddenly dealing with a fracture or a DEXA scan that shows major bone loss. So what's the fix? It's simple. Separate your blueberries and calcium. If you love blueberries in your yogurt, just eat them an hour or two apart. Have yogurt in the morning and snack on blueberries in the afternoon. Or switch things up, use a fruit that's lower in oxalates like apples or pears with your yogurt, and save blueberries for when they can shine on their own. Another thing to note is portion size. A small handful of blueberries is unlikely to do significant harm, but if you're loading up every day with a full cup or more, that adds up, especially if you're doing it multiple times a week. And remember, this doesn't mean blueberries are bad. Far from it. They're fantastic for your brain, your gut, and your immune system. You just want to let them do their job without getting in the way of other important nutrients. Calcium is critical for seniors, not just for bones, but for nerve function, heart rhythm, and muscle strength. And it's already harder to absorb as we age. Don't let an innocent blueberry habit make it even harder. Make the small switch, shift the timing. Your bones will thank you. One woman I know, Susan, swore by her daily yogurt bowl. She added granola, chia seeds, a big handful of blueberries, and sometimes even a drizzle of honey. It looked like a Pinterest-perfect breakfast, and she truly believed it was helping her stay strong and fit. But she kept getting recurring kidney stones. Her doctor eventually asked her to log her meals. That's when they made the connection. Too many oxalates combined with high calcium day after day was the culprit. It's not that Susan did anything wrong, she just didn't know. And now that she spaces out her calcium and oxalate intake, she hasn't had a single issue in years. Her bones are fine, her kidneys are happy, and she still enjoys blueberries, just not in the same bowl as her dairy. This is a perfect example of why it's not about restriction. It's about understanding your body's chemistry. Nutrients aren't isolated. They interact, support, or interfere with each other every time you eat. So be curious. Ask questions. And if something's not working, fatigue, pain, digestive issues, take a second look at your food pairings. You might be closer to the solution than you think. Now let's move on to oatmeal. It's one of the most common breakfast choices for older adults, and for good reason. It's warm, comforting, full of fiber, and helps lower cholesterol. Add blueberries, and it feels like a home run. But the devil's in the details, especially if your oatmeal is sweetened. Most people use instant oatmeal packets, flavored with things like maple brown sugar or cinnamon apple. Those packets often contain 10 to 15 grams of added sugar. Then, they add blueberries on top, sometimes even more sugar, like honey or brown sugar. Now you've turned a heart-healthy breakfast into a glucose bomb. When you eat blueberries with added sugar, you're combining natural fruit sugars with refined sugars. This sends your blood sugar on a roller coaster. First you spike, fast energy, maybe a little jittery. Then you crash, brain fog, irritability, and hunger not long after. For anyone managing prediabetes or insulin resistance, this kind of breakfast can be more harmful than helpful. And the worst part? It still feels healthy. That's the trap. People say, but it's oatmeal, but it's blueberries. And yes, those ingredients can be healthy, just not when combined with processed sugar in the wrong amounts. The solution is to go back to basics. Choose unsweetened oats, like steel-cut or old-fashioned rolled oats. Add blueberries, sure, but skip the sugar. If you need sweetness, try cinnamon or a splash of vanilla extract, or add a few slices of banana. You'll still get flavor, but without the glucose spike. Also, pay attention to your portion size. A massive bowl of oatmeal with a full cup of blueberries is more sugar than you think. Try smaller portions, and pay attention to how your body feels an hour after eating. Are you clear-headed and satisfied? Or are you sleepy and reaching for more food? That's the real test. Your body will tell you if a meal is working for you, if you listen. And remember, stable blood sugar isn't just about avoiding diabetes. It affects your energy, mood, memory, and even sleep. When your blood sugar is up and down all day, your hormones suffer, your brain gets foggy, and your cravings increase. So don't just eat what looks healthy. Eat what feels healthy after the fact. That's the difference. Think of your blood sugar like a balloon. When you eat simple carbs or sugars, the balloon inflates quickly. But the faster it inflates, the faster it deflates, and that crash is what leads to fatigue, cravings, and irritability. When you combine sweetened oats with fruit like blueberries, you're pumping that balloon full of sugar from multiple sources. Over time, that constant inflating and crashing wears down your system. And for seniors, this is especially risky. Your body doesn't handle glucose as efficiently. Your insulin response slows down. That's why so many older adults develop insulin resistance without even knowing it. They think they're eating well, but it's the combinations that are silently causing problems. Here's something you can try instead. Add some healthy fats to your oatmeal, like a spoonful of almond butter or some chopped walnuts. Fat helps slow digestion and blunts the sugar spike. Pair it with cinnamon, which can help regulate blood sugar, and skip the added sweeteners altogether. Let the blueberries stand on their own. You'll still get flavor, fiber, and antioxidants, just without the metabolic cost. Little changes like this don't feel restrictive. They feel empowering. You're not dieting, you're optimizing. And that mindset shift can transform your energy, your mood, and even how your clothes fit over time. Finally, let's talk about multivitamins. It seems simple, right? Pop one with breakfast and you're good to go. But what if I told you that combining your multivitamin with blueberries could be blocking your body from actually absorbing the nutrients? See, blueberries contain acids and antioxidants that can interfere with how certain vitamins and minerals are processed. For example, tannins in blueberries can bind to zinc and magnesium, two critical minerals that seniors often don't get enough of. And vitamin B12, which is essential for energy, nerve health, and brain function, is already tough to absorb as you age. Combine it with high antioxidant foods, and absorption may drop even lower. So you take your multivitamin every day. You feel good about it. But months go by, and your blood work still shows low levels of B12, magnesium, or iron. That can be incredibly frustrating. But it might not be the vitamin's fault. It might be the blueberries you're eating at the same time. Again, the fix is timing. Take your vitamin with water, ideally on an empty stomach, or with a light meal that doesn't include polyphenol-rich fruits. Then enjoy your blueberries an hour or two later as a snack or dessert. It's not about restriction, it's about optimization. Your body can't use what it can't absorb, and when you're over 60, every absorbed nutrient becomes that much more important. You're not just eating to survive, you're eating to thrive. So respect the power of your food, respect your body's needs, and start thinking about how and when you eat, not just what's on your plate. And let's take a closer look at why this matters so much, especially for older adults. As we age, our stomach lining becomes less efficient at producing intrinsic factor, a protein that helps the body absorb vitamin B12. So, even if you're eating enough B12 or taking it in pill form, your body might not be doing much with it. Add the absorption blocking effects of blueberries at the same time. Now you've got a double whammy that can leave you deficient without even realizing it. And a B12 deficiency isn't some obscure health issue. It can cause memory loss, numbness, and tingling in the hands and feet, mood disturbances, even balance problems. Some people have been misdiagnosed with early-stage dementia or depression when really they just needed better B12 absorption. Same goes for zinc. Zinc is vital for your immune system, wound healing, and your sense of taste and smell. But it competes with other minerals for absorption, and when combined with polyphenol-rich fruits like blueberries, the balance can tip out of your favor. Suddenly, your once reliable multivitamin becomes a nutritional question mark. And then there's magnesium. It's involved in over 300 biochemical processes in your body. Everything from muscle function to sleep quality to blood sugar regulation. And guess what? Blueberries can interfere with that absorption too. You might be wondering, why hasn't your doctor told you this? Well, most traditional nutrition advice focuses on what to eat, not when or how. The idea that healthy foods can interfere with each other isn't mainstream yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. More and more research is coming out on nutrient synergy and nutrient competition. So what's the strategy? First, simplify your routine. Take your multivitamin at a time when your stomach is relatively empty, or with a small, neutral snack. Water is best. Avoid pairing it with fruit, tea, coffee, or dairy, all of which can reduce absorption of different nutrients. Second, consider switching to a sublingual B12 if absorption is a concern. These dissolve under your tongue and bypass the digestive system entirely. That's often a better option for seniors anyway. Third, track how you feel. If you've been consistent with your supplements but still feel off, low energy, muscle cramps, poor sleep, weird food cravings, it might not be the dose. It might be the delivery. And finally, advocate for blood work. Ask your doctor to check your B12, magnesium, iron, and zinc levels. If they're low, don't just increase your dosage. Look at your eating and supplement timing. That's often where the problem starts. The bottom line? Your multivitamin isn't a magic pill. It only works if your body can use it. And for that to happen, timing and food combinations matter more than most people realize. A simple shift in your routine could mean the difference between just swallowing nutrients and actually benefiting from them. So let's bring it all home. You've now learned about 5 common food pairings that don't mix well with blueberries. And again, this doesn't mean blueberries are bad. Far from it. They're one of the most nutrient-dense fruits you can eat. But as we've seen, even healthy foods can work against you when they're paired the wrong way. Iron supplements, whey protein, calcium-rich yogurt, sugary oatmeal, multivitamins. These are all staples in many senior diets. But when you combine them with blueberries at the wrong time, you might be blocking absorption, disrupting your energy, or throwing off your blood sugar without realizing it. And at this stage in life, those details matter. Your digestion isn't as efficient. Your ability to absorb vitamins and minerals is slower, and your body can't afford to waste nutrients. That's why food pairing is more than a trend. It's a powerful strategy. So what should you do? Keep eating blueberries. But eat them smart. Separate them from your supplements. Choose plain oatmeal instead of sugary packets. Switch up your protein powder. Or just shift the timing. You don't need to stop enjoying the foods you love. You just need to be a little more strategic. Because real health isn't just about what you eat. It's about how you eat it, when you eat it, and what you eat it with. If you found this episode helpful, go ahead and share it. You never know who might be dealing with low energy, nutrient problems, or blood sugar issues without realizing the root cause. And if you haven't already, hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. We're here to help you stay sharp, stay energized, and stay in control of your health, one smart habit at a time. Until next time, stay well and stay curious.